There's the result. Philipsen, Cavendish, Girmay the top three. So Mark Cavendish headed back to the team bus rather than the podium, where Daniel Friebe was waiting for him when he came back out.
Well, Mark, after 5th place and your 6th place, we felt you were heartened, encouraged. Is there a bit more frustration today?
Yeah, a little bit. Boys did good. They're incredible. Jumped when I wanted to. But unfortunately, I had a problem with my gears when I was sprinting. It went from the 11 to the 12. I had to sit down. Then it went back to the 11. I could stand up again. Then back to the 12. I could go again. So, yeah, a little, like, pretty devastated there actually. Boys did good. Got a good jump, but what can you do in those situations? I guess it's not meant to be. So.
In spite of that, when you were ahead and you saw the line 40, 30 metres ahead of you, did you start to believe?
No, like I said, by that point, back to 30, 40 to go, I was already had to sit down and stand up again. Like my gears were already jumping 11, 12, 11, 12. Like, you've got to kind of pray. It's not a belief then, it's a hope, but it is what it is. We try again.
Do you still think that you've got the speed to beat these guys, and particularly Philipsen?
I think so, yeah. I'd imagine there might be a couple of teams protesting against Philipsen anyway today, so but he didn't impede me, so there's nothing wrong with that. He beat me.
We've got the perfect studio guest for today, because Marcel Kittel is one of the few men who knows what Jasper Philipsen feels like. You've beaten Mark Cavendish in a sprint, but he was so close there.
It was so close today, and it's really disappointing also for me to see him like this, being only a couple of meters away from that record. Yeah, and Cav is always honest when he's beaten, so we know he's not making excuses, and it looks as though his gears might have deprived him of the win.
He seemed so disappointed in that post-race interview, and we seen when he first went, there was almost like a jump in the bike. I thought at first glance it was to do with the road. But now after his interview, maybe that was the first sort of sense of, problem with his gears. Then again, Marcel, it is quite strange at that point in the sprint to sit down once you've launched it and you're fully, absolutely, you're fully into your sprint. And you can see again, then it went back into his 11. He tried to get back up. By this point, Philipsen was already coming past him, and he knew the chance had gone.
Yeah. And Philipsen, you know what it's like, Marcel, to have the momentum that comes with winning an early stage, the first opportunity. I mean, Philipsen's just flying, isn't he? Because he didn't have the perfect lead out himself.
No, absolutely not. I mean, his team took a gamble today to be quite early in front. About 2 kilometers before the sprint finish, they were already riding in the wind. And Philipsen has a great lead out with Mathieu van der Poel, and then they all really have a lot of confidence from the last days. They are the strongest team. Philipsen is the strongest rider, and that helped him to the victory today.
Now, there were protests about Philipsen deviating from his line, closing the door on Biniam Girmay in particular, Pete. The commissaires have decided there's nothing wrong with it. Was that the right decision?
For me, yes. I mean, you look at it, Mark Cavendish comes flying from the right. Philipsen sees him. He doesn't have any contact with Girmay at all, and for me it was more the speed that he was carrying that allowed him then to jump on Mark Cavendish's wheel to then launch his sprint. So for me, no problem with Philipsen's sprint.
Okay, but Cav, although he sounded devastated at the end, and I'm sure he is, when he calms down, he'll take confidence from that, and there are still a couple of chances for him in this Tour, possibly 3.
I hope so. I hope it's not a confidence knock, because he was so close. And I'm sure he'll lose sleep over the fact that his gears weren't working properly apparently today. So, but he's got to keep going. There's still 3 more chances. Okay, he said there's maybe only 2, but there is 3 if the race goes his way. And he's getting closer. He was really fast in that last 100 meters today. So, fingers crossed.